I'll get straight to the issue. I'm getting married in about 2 months. We're having a pretty intimate wedding in terms of number of guests. So, outside of married or engaged couples, only people we know that have a long term significant other received a plus one. Ella is my half sister. She has a long distance boyfriend who's coming to visit. All is well and good, but he'll be here the week of my wedding. She asked for a plus one to bring him, but I said that's not possible because we've already confirmed catering and everything, and I do not know him that well. Ella tried saying I gave my friends plus ones, but they've been in actual relationships for a couple of years, and I didn't give her a plus one. I said, I'm sorry, but this is our decision, and I don't want other people getting upset and other relatives asking why they couldn't bring their boyfriend or girlfriend of the week or month. She's now saying she won't be attending because it's disrespectful to her relationship and she wants to spend time with him before he leaves. I said she's being extremely selfish and acting like she's the only person who didn't receive a plus one. This is causing issues between me and Ella. So am I the asshole? What do you think?
I think that Ella is the asshole because the bride and groom have every right to make whatever rules they want to make, and they're making everyone follow it. And he could seem like the asshole because that is his sister. But yeah, then other family members are like, what about my plus one? What about mine? And for Ella to turn around and not want to go to the wedding, like, girl.
And the wedding's not going to last all day long. They're having an intimate wedding, so the
Right.
odds of it being more than 3 hours, maybe four. You mean to tell me you can't carve out 4 hours to go to your family member, your sister, your sibling, step sibling or not, your sibling's wedding? Ella is definitely the asshole here.
Ella is definitely the asshole. She's super selfish. She's giving like middle child syndrome.
Yes, agreed. 110%. And with that being said, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wedding to Wife podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Allen. And if this is your first time tuning in to Wedding to Wife, we discuss wedding planning from the vendor's perspective, do's and don'ts from real brides, and of course, talk about that wife life because we all know it is so much more than just putting on that ring. My guest today is no stranger to anyone who has a TV or a smartphone. Mrs. Charmaine Bey first grabbed our attention on Black Ink Crew Chicago. Her infectious personality made us all tune in week after week. And since then, we have watched her flourish as a business owner, wife, mother, author, and podcast host. Let's welcome Charmaine. Woo!
Hi, everyone.
I am so happy to have you here. You are
Thanks so
doing
much.
amazing things.
Thank you. It's always great when someone thinks of you and wants you on their platform, and this is your second episode. You're just starting out. So I think that's so awesome. So of course I want to support.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to dive into it because before you got married, did you have a list of qualities that you wanted in a husband?
Definitely had a list of qualities I wanted in a husband. I wanted someone who was kind, someone smart. I wanted someone who was a protector and someone trustworthy. And I feel like this isn't a quality, but I definitely wanted someone with no kids.
Oh, no, that is a quality.
So that was definitely like, I never dated anyone with kids.
Yeah.
So I didn't even like, I don't think I've even really ever had sex with anyone with kids. Like
Mm,
that for me, I wasn't gonna even play with that. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So that was
So you
like
didn't want to be
me.
anybody's stepmom.
No, and then like, I'm the only child. So
Mm-hmm.
if I have kids for someone, I want it to be their first child as well. And
Yes.
it's just not ideal for me. And I'm glad that it works for other people. And there's these beautiful blended families. But I guess I was just me being selfish. I wanted my husband, his only kids, to be the kids I gave him.
Well, I definitely don't think that that's being selfish. My husband and I have been married for 13 years next month.
Oh
And
no.
of course, because we
Happy
got married, thank you. Of course,
yeah.
since we got married young, neither of us had children. But that was definitely something that was on my list because I wanted all of these experiences to be a first for the both of us. I did not want anything that I was going through being pregnant to be downplayed like, "Oh, you'll be okay," or "That's not a big deal." Like I want this to be a big deal for you the
Mm.
same way it's a big deal for me. I don't know anything and you don't know anything either. So I want us both to not know anything together. So that's definitely a quality. And you are not selfish for wanting that for yourself. Now, when you had this list for your husband, did you also have a list of qualities that you wanted to possess once you became a wife?
Um, I probably wasn't thinking of that list, but for sure. I mean, I feel like I was already kind of doing those qualities before we got married.
Okay.
I was already cooking and cleaning. We were already living together.
Hmm.
But the qualities that I wanted to bring to the table was the same as the qualities that I wanted from him. I wanted him to be able to trust me and for him to count on me, for me to be patient and a protector as well. Um, so many different things, but I can't ask you to do something for me that I'm not willing to do for you. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, I was totally already playing wife.
How long have y'all been married?
We have been married for 4 years.
Okay, okay, okay. So you shook the internet when you announced that you were pregnant with your first baby,
Yeah.
followed by the announcement that you eloped.
Yeah.
So, what issues have come with being married in the public eye?
Well, we eloped before we got pregnant, like 3 months before we got pregnant. And we wanted to go to the courthouse and do that because reality TV just played a big part in my
Hmm.
life at the time. And I just wanted to do something with us, not with any cameras, kind of like Selena did when she ran off to the
Hmm.
courthouse and didn't even tell her parents. Um, I kind of did the same thing. Like I told my mom, but she didn't believe me. And then when we did it, she was like really upset because she wanted to
Mm,
be there. But I wouldn't have changed it because 3 months later, I got pregnant
right,
and I was able to start my family because I was already married.
right.
So, but what was your question?
What issues have come with being married in the public eye that you feel like with you both being influencers?
I don't really think that we've had any issues being married in the public eye. We are like business partners and obviously life partners. He totally respects my businesses, like whatever I need to do, whether it's reality TV, radio. There was a point in time before I was married when I was hosting at the clubs and
Hmm.
like turning up with the people. And I think him and I can both agree that no wife should probably be doing that. I think that also if I was getting $5,000, $10,000 a night, hosting 2 hours at the club, just getting a section, popping a bottle, and like dancing with the fans. I don't think he's also not going to tell me no, you know.
Right, right,
So
right. Because we got to
we
feed these
work
kids.
right. Hello, we work really well together. He's very supportive. Um, so when it comes to the public eye, I don't think that we've had any issues.
Okay,
Not that I
good.
know of.
Okay. But you have over 1 million followers on Instagram. What
Mhm.
is some of the wildest things that you've just heard people like you guys post things about your relationship and your love? Like what's like the wildest thing you've read and been like, now why would they say that?
That our children aren't his children because of their features, because they have
Mm,
like one of them has red hair, They both have colored eyes, and
Hmm.
they're like lighter than what you would think if he was the dad, I
Okay.
guess. So I just think that's just so rude and
Yeah.
disrespectful. I mean, not only do they look just like him, but that's not nice. Like, don't
Yeah.
question who their father is when you're looking at him. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, they look like him. Like, don't be ignorant to the fact that our race can produce multiple
Yes.
different shades of people. That's why I wrote the children's book, Nubians Come in All Shades. You can get it on Amazon,
Pick that
but
up.
I was inspired by social media comments and everybody saying that my kids look like Steph Curry's kids, and did we rent Steph Curry's kids? And,
Wow.
it's just so crazy.
People
But
have a
whatever.
lot of boldness when they think that they'll never see these people, because the stuff that people write, it's like you would never say this to somebody if you were standing in front of them. You would probably want an autograph or a picture or something, but behind closed doors, you're writing all this crazy stuff. My husband is light bright, like damn near white, like, and he
Really?
is a black man, and I am as melanated as possible, and our children are his complexion.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been out with them before, and when they were younger and somebody was like, oh, your nephews are so cute, or are you the nanny? And I'm, well, first of all, why am I the nanny? I just want
Right.
to, because I'm not finna watch nobody's kids. So I'm trying to
Hello.
figure out why I'm the nanny. But it's like the boldness and the audacity to even comment on, number one, who's the father of somebody's child is, and this whole big thing about asking women like, when are they going to have another baby, are they
Yeah.
pregnant? It's like you don't know what goes on in people's lives behind closed doors, and you're asking all these crazy questions. You have no home training. And
Yeah, it's ridiculous. People, because they're typing on their phone, majority of the time making these comments, they don't have to, like, a lot of times they're saying things that they would never say to these people face.
yeah, well,
So
with that being said, you say you that the two of you work together. So you are together all the time. You're growing your empire. How do you make sure to spend quality time together and not just a routine?
it's so hard. I don't think we've mastered it yet.
Okay.
Um, I think our quality time is like smoking a blunt together when the kids are asleep,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe watching Naked and Afraid.
Okay. Okay.
Before he heads to his office to like make a beat or something to do something he's interested in. Because not only do we have these businesses together, but we also have stuff not together, you know?
Right.
So he, we might just cuddle for, an hour and a half and watch our favorite show, smoke, and maybe even take a shot. And then after that, I might start working on something else and he'll go to his office and, do whatever he wants to do as
Yeah.
well. So that's pretty fun. But also the weekends are like our thing. Sundays, we always have like family fun day. We'll find somewhere fun to go in the city and just have a good time.
Because you're in Los Angeles now.
Yes.
Okay, so there's always plenty to do there, I am sure. Since the
Very.
pandemic hit, a lot of couples have been inside, and that is one of the things that we talk about often amongst our friends is how do you keep that quality time going when you're together? Now that so many people jobs are remote, they're home all day long. You don't get you don't get a break. So something that we like to do is just be intentional with like even the daily things that we have to do. So if we are cooking together, we're like, okay, we're gonna have a theme cooking night. Like it's Italian night. Like we get all into the theme. We playing the music. Like we are really into it, so that it's not just we're cooking to eat. Like we're cooking for enjoyment because we are together in the house all the time. And so
Right. That's
we
so cute.
have three children and they're all of their things. So we just try to, whatever we do, we just try to make it extra so it can feel like this was planned. It's not just we're making spaghetti. No, it's Italian night at the Allen house.
Right.
And it makes it fun for the kids to see it and be a part of it. And it kind of really just sets the tone for just a good evening, for that good old nightcap. You know, you got to keep it going. But I would encourage you to try that.
I would love to try that. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to try that. Thank you so much for giving me that.
You you are welcome. So being in a house together, obviously you're at some point you're bound to bump heads. Do you think that you handle conflict differently now that you're married versus when you were dating?
Definitely. I don't think it like changed immediately when we got married. Handling conflict differently. But after being married and like going through some of the things that we've gone through together, like losing both of my parents and even like birthing children, you just learn to try to try to at least on my end, I try to like not, I'm the only child, y'all. So somebody might say something to me and I immediately get defensive.
Hmm.
So I try to not be so defensive and try to hear what was said to me.
Yeah.
And I know that on Neek's end, he definitely like tries to be more patient with me instead of just like rolling his eyes and might be annoyed with me. He's like, okay, you're tripping right now, right?
Right, right,
Like,
right, right, right.
right. Versus like, whatever. He's more like, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. With your 4 years into being married, what advice would you have for someone who's getting married this weekend? Like what would you tell them?
I would tell them don't rush to be perfect. It's a journey. Like, there's so much learning to do when it comes to learning each other. And being married isn't like life or death if you guys disagree at some point on some end. Like, you're together forever. You can work on red flags as long as they're not anything too crazy.
Hmm.
Um, and don't try to change that person. Like, give them time to grow, and you guys have nothing but time.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. Especially when you get married young, it's difficult because people don't understand you are growing up in front of somebody else.
hmm
And if you are still trying to figure out, from a man's perspective, if you're still trying to figure out how to, this man that you want to be, but now you're somebody's husband. So now you're still trying to figure out how to be this man you want to be and somebody's husband, and then you're somebody's dad. And it's a lot. And the same thing with women, you are trying to figure out the woman you want to be, then you're a wife, then you're a mom, and you're still like, well, I don't even know what I want to do with myself. And your
right.
identity becomes my identity for a long time was if I met somebody and they would say, how you get a job and they tell you, well, stand up and tell us something about yourself. I would be like, oh, my name is Jennifer. I've been married, whatever years. I have, kids. Blah, blah, blah. That was my immediate thing. Like my identity was wrapped into my husband and my children. And so it is, now whenever I talk to somebody, although those are still two very important aspects of my life, I get to lead with something else now. I get to say, oh, I'm the owner of Just Elope. We are one of the most profitable elopement companies in Dallas. I was featured on Netflix as an officiant. I'm married to Brad and Judy on WeTV. Like, I get to say all these things now because I realized like it's okay for me to put my accomplishments in the front
Mhm.
and then say my family. It doesn't make me love them any less. And I used to struggle with that because I felt like if I didn't say, oh, I'm a wife and mom, it seemed like my business was more important than my family. And
Mhm.
that's not the case. And then I had to really
Yeah.
stop and think like, who told you that they thought that?
hmm
Nobody. That was just something I had made up in
Right.
my head. In
Like an
my head.
insecurity.
Very much so. Very, very
Yeah.
much so. Because for so long, that's all I felt like I was. And so once I started to become something else, I felt like, well, I'm just abandoning what I've been this whole time. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
so hard for
silly.
women because we wear so many different hats, like you mentioned, and we don't, it's almost like sometimes we'll feel bad for even trying to spend time on our passion because we have children and a husband, and, you know, they can never have too much catering to.
Yeah,
So it can get really tough sometimes, but I think that's what makes us as women just so resilient and so strong. And, you know, it makes sense that we, the women, were the real rulers, you know,
100%.
yeah, men have created this whole other ideal just because they're like bigger and stronger, but
Yeah,
we are the ones creating life and bringing life into the world. And when someone's in trouble, they come to their mom. When someone wants
100%.
something to feel like home, they go to their mother. You know, when someone needs someone to talk to, usually they go to their mom. So we're really like the foundation. And, you know, fathers do have a lot on their plate too, because we look for them to provide, you know, at least 50% and be there present for the children and everything. And obviously they have to do their own work. But women, we have to like cook and clean and take care of the kids and still do what the man does, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes they
And
don't.
still be a freak on top of that. Now you got to
Okay,
swing from
that,
the chandelier, and
hello.
it's like, babe, I'm tired today.
I'm tired. I'm
I'm
asleep.
tired. I'm so sleepy. And my husband be like, "No, you're not.
Right. Okay. My
You
husband
you
like
you
just
are awake.
turn to your side. You don't even have to
Listen."
do anything.
He like, "Come on, listen." He's like, Just come on, just come on."
Right.
I'm like, you know what? It'll be easier for me to just go ahead and just do it, because by the time I done said no 3 times, I'm like,
We would have been done with.
this couldn't over with. But while I'm going back and forth, like let's just go ahead.
And then
And
he's happy and I can sleep all night.
yes, yes,
And
yes, yes.
that's
And the
it.
house is
Yeah.
happy, and everybody
Everybody's
is
happy.
everybody is happy, happy,
Yes.
happy. So before we get into our next segment of asking you just some wedding questions, um, where do you see your marriage in the next 5 years?
Ooh, in the next 5 years, I definitely want to have another baby. Um, and I see us taking our marriage to the next level when it just comes to we didn't we went to we eloped, and I see us like having a wedding um and just continuing to better ourselves, continuing to build our foundation for our children, and maybe even like coming out with a book together.
Okay.
um Something big.
I love that. I definitely could see the two of you truly being a couple that people look to, just because I really feel like you're authentic in the way that you present yourself, and your marriage is not a situation where it's like, hey, we are these perfect people who are going to take this perfect picture with our perfect kids and our perfect house and our perfect life. And I think that that is more relatable than most people understand.
Right.
People want to see someone that looks like them, in a sense of, today may not have been a good day, a good marriage day, but it's still a great day to be married,
For
And
sure.
so really just clinging to that. But this made for a perfect segue, because you said that you could see yourself having a wedding in the future. So if you had a traditional wedding, would you pay for your bridesmaids' dresses?
If I had a traditional wedding, would I pay for my bridesmaids? I would say, I mean, this is the thing. I don't have an issue paying for my bridesmaid dresses, but they can pay for their own dresses. Like, they all got jobs.
Yeah, no,
And
that is not the norm. That's not the norm. My last guest, which by the time this airs, we'll all know who she was and what she did. She paid for her bridesmaids' dresses, and that blew my mind. And so, but I'm like, that's a question I'm going to ask everybody going forward because I've never heard of anyone paying for their bridesmaids' dresses.
really, I have been in a couple weddings and I've always paid for my dress.
Yes, pay for all of my things. Okay, so what do you think of a cash bar at a wedding?
Tacky.
Would you rather them just not even have liquor?
No, we need liquor. But I would
Okay.
rather them get a open bar.
Yeah. Okay. What about when people have like beer and wine? Do you think that no. Where is the Patron?
Right. Hello. Yeah. I need
What do
some
you
tequila. Where's the
Yeah,
Hennessy? Like champagne.
something. Right.
Yeah.
What do you think of guests wearing white to weddings
Not cool unless the bride makes it a thing.
for everybody to
Yeah,
wear
like
white?
why are you trying to steal the shine?
Yeah. What do you think of people proposing at other people's weddings?
I think that's tacky too. It's like, can't you let this couple have their moment? Yeah, like propose tomorrow.
Is there not any other time in your life of
You
all the
chose
day
my
300
wedding.
yeah, this is the only place because you want to get the perfect picture because we didn't pay for this photographer to come in here and you just trying to piggyback.
Yeah, and most likely everybody that's invited doesn't even know the couple getting married. Like, why are you
Yeah.
proposing in front of other people's families? Like, where's your family?
On our Am I the Asshole, we talked about having plus ones. What is your take on when you do have your wedding? Are you going to allow everyone to have a plus one? Because I think people don't understand when they say, I'm going to have a wedding of 100 people. Is that 100? Is that 50 people plus one? Or is that 100 people plus one? So you're really having 200 people?
I think it just depends on budget and how many people you're inviting. I don't think everyone should get a plus one. I think the obvious people, the married people, should have a plus one. And anyone that's been dating for like more than 2 years,
Okay.
or, at least more than a year.
Yeah.
If y'all been dating less than a year, you're not getting a plus one. Like,
No.
I don't care if y'all are super in love and it's been 6 months. Like, you got to pay per head for a wedding, and
100%. And
it's
it gets
so expensive.
expensive. It,
Right.
it does. The average wedding in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken, is pretty close to like $32,000. And
Mm.
so it's like, do I like you enough to pay $150 for you to eat? Like under any circumstance, would I pay $150 for you to have a meal?
No.
And I probably would not. My last wedding question: what does your dream wedding look like?
My dream wedding would definitely be a destination wedding. Um, Very tropical, but like in a like something like Morocco, like
Mhm.
tropical in a like different way, like an African way.
Yeah. Okay.
um, or like, I mean, Haiti got a lot going on, but like I love
Mm-hmm.
just the jungle out there, but very green and pretty. Destination, not a lot of people, like less than 20 people.
Okay.
I would have like one bridesmaid, and yeah, that's what it looks like, and then we leave or everyone goes home and we go on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
But
I know
yeah,
I
like
said I know I
something.
said one more question, one more wedding question, but do you have a dream dress designer?
Ooh, a dream dress designer. I follow a couple of dress designers on Instagram. I can't remember the name of any of them, but I think one might start with like a V.
Okay.
Um, but they got some badass dresses out there, and the longer I keep waiting to have a wedding, the more pretty dresses come out. So,
Well, I would definitely start looking and getting in touch with them now. Our last bride, she said that her dress took 2,000 hours to make. She
wow.
flew to London to actually get fitted for her dress. And everything was hand stitched. She said it was very high five figures that she paid for this
Wow.
wedding dress. And it blew my mind. Her name is Tony Norton. So by the time your episode airs, hers would have already aired. So Tony Norton wedding went viral. Her wedding dress looked like it was made for her. She had a short haircut with a short veil, and the dress looked like it was painted on her skin. And so we definitely stand for the wedding dresses, but like she said, you have to start that process early because it is a thing. It is.
It's fun. Yeah. Especially when it's so beautiful like that.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. So tell us what you're working on and how people can reach you.
Sure. So I recently got an Amazon radio show. You can listen to it. It's called Reality Uncut. And what you do is you download the AMP app. That's
Okay.
AMP. That's Amazon's platform. And you follow my show, Reality Uncut. And we talk about reality TV shows. We review a lot of reality hip hop shows. Right now, we're reviewing Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. We have guests on our show that we interview tomorrow. We actually have Nick Cannon's ex girlfriend, Jessica White.
Mm.
But she doesn't want to talk about Nick Cannon. So,
Oh, let's talk
but
about.
I'm gonna figure out some things
We're
to
gonna
tell
have to segue that in some type of way.
But you can check me out there. You can get my children's book on Amazon. It's called Nubians Come in All Shades. You can get some sea moss from my husband and I. We have all kind of different sea moss products, including powder and capsules. Also raw sea moss. And you can get that at beymoss.com. That's BEYMOSS. And we can just start there. We can just start there.
Because you have so many amazing things going on. I'll be sure to link all those.
Definitely tune in to Marriage and Mirage podcast
Yes.
with my husband and I. It's on YouTube and all platforms. We've interviewed Delicious, Hazel Lee, The Latruths, Cole from Love is Blind, Jared and Ayana from Love is Blind. So we like to interview people who were married and just talk about their relationship. And a lot of these marriages end up being mirages.
Yeah.
So tune in.
No, you interview some great people and the questions are off the chain. Cole was actually on season 3, the season that I did. My couple was SK and Raven.
Oh,
So
we
I
love SK and
yes, so
Raven.
I did not know anything about them. Had never met them before until they were walking down the aisle. So we actually filmed the show in June of 2021 and it came out in October of 2022.
Oh,
So
wow.
I did not know why he said no. I didn't know anything until the show came out. And I watched it with everybody else unfold the way everybody else did. I only knew the ending. I didn't know why it got to that point.
Mm,
And I definitely felt bad for Cole because he was made out to be just this person that he wasn't. And
no.
I was so glad when they showed like after the
Right.
reunion. Yes, I'm like, good. I felt so good for him. But yes, you are doing such amazing things, and a person of your stature, it means so much to me for you to come onto my podcast. And so
Oh, thanks, Jenna.
I appreciate you so much, Charmaine, for coming on to Wedding to Wife. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Follow us on social media at Wedding to Wife Podcast. And to keep the conversation going, we'll be back next Wednesday with another episode.
Yay. Thanks for having me, girl.
Okay.